Good morning, everyone. XIlyana here, environmentalist, human rights activist, LGBTQIA icon, musician, and a veteran. I shouldn't say that as a question. I'm definitely a veteran. I'm, I just question whether or not America knows that veterans are people, know that we exist, not to be war toys, broken, melted, and discarded by the American government. I've had a few conversations with Clint back and forth about what it means to be a disabled American veteran fighting with the VA to just receive the smallest amount of money. The smallest amount of money. It's been 7 years, 7 years of PTSD episodes, and I can only describe it as rape showers 5 or 6 times a day or more because I am mentally disturbed because of it. Oh, hi, Clint. Um, I completely forgot about what time it was. I am so sorry. Why don't you send me an email of a time that would make more sense, and you can just send me an invite. Obviously, I'm a disabled American veteran, so you just let me know when you're available, and I'll hop on your show then. I was in the middle of one of those rape showers when I just said, no, there has to be something more that I can do. So I got up, went over to X, and I did a DM in the only way that I guess is possible with Chris Pratt, and I asked Chris Pratt, would you sign the change.org/Save American Veterans bill to add a 1 to 2% excise tax on commerce and transportation? Clint, oh, that's terrible. You talk to me all the time, and if anything, I will say this: if you have a definitive reason to be angry at a group of people, as long as it doesn't turn into violence and you keep most of your thoughts civil and most of your words civil, then yeah, it's whatever. There are a lot of root issues that go into it, and I always tell people it's easy to be racist. It's a lot harder to be understanding of it's just a system pitting you against your own people, and it's making you choose a team. And I don't like that. I don't like that because we don't exactly live in a world designed for teams. We think we do. We have football, we have American football, obviously. American football, we have basketball, we have baseball, we have hockey. I like hockey. So we have the idea of what it means to be on a team. We don't have the idea of living as a team. We don't do that in America. Other countries, for the most part, they're very homogenized. Not so much anymore, but they had the time to be able to say it's a we situation. And even that wasn't exactly easy. This tax that I'm asking of the American people is just common sense. When the Department of Veteran Affairs pays veterans, they have to pay it out of something. So they're already taxing you for the payments to veterans. The only problem is they were never actually paying the veterans, they were paying themselves. They would take the money that they're supposed to be giving to veterans and then they would pad their own pockets with it. What I mean by pad their own pockets, they would hire employees to be customer service representatives, to be raiders, to file the paperwork, even the lawyers who represent the veterans. It's a big business. And guess what? Everyone's getting a paycheck at the end of the week except veterans. Veterans are being left out of that conversation altogether. When I had my high level review, they didn't even ask me because they knew that if they screwed up, it would just be more time. And, you know, because I'm dark skinned, they thought that they could, sleep on a brother. And that's not happening. So I'm just not going to take it. I'm not going to take it. And I don't want veterans to just eat this level of pain from this torture because it is torture. The situations they put you in, and it never gets better. It doesn't. I'm going to go into some personal stuff here, but I just lost an extended family member, and I'm already a disabled American veteran. I can't let myself feel for that event. I can't let myself do anything with it. I can't be a source of comfort for other people because I don't have the medical help that I'm supposed to be getting. I don't have the safe space I'm supposed to have in order to make that happen. And to a lot of the people who may hear something like that, it's true, there really isn't a safe space anywhere. We need to change that. We really do. So I have this 2% excise tax, um, change.org/save American veterans. Some veterans, they'll get the money from this tax, which is nothing more than what, 2 cents on your dollar. And the more dollars you spend, the less likely you are to care. I mean, if you are an incredibly impoverished person trying to get $1.99 nugget, even though I don't think it's $1.99 anywhere anymore, and the cashier has to ask you for $2.01 to cover a tax to help veterans, are you sure you can't get 2 cents more? Because if you're already struggling to get $1.99 together, then you need help too. But if you have $2.01, and by the way, the tax for whatever state that you're in will push that $1.99 over $1.99, way above, more than 1%, more than 2%. The state has asked for more. They're supposed to be using that to help veterans. They're supposed to be using that to help people who are impoverished. They're not doing that. So I sent a message, an at message. I at mentioned. I really don't do social media. I sent an at mention to Chris Pratt. I sent an app mention to Netflix. I sent an app mention to Disney. I didn't send one to McDonald's and Pizza Hut and all the rest of them, but it's pretty understood. I'm going to try and do an individual trade agreement between, I guess, major groups in entertainment and food and beverage to say, will you raise your prices 2 to 3 cents to cover paying some veterans on the dollar? They might say yes. They might say no. Now, if they say yes, and I asked Chris Pratt to sign that petition, change.org/Save American Veterans. I don't know how long it would take. I would probably say, wherever he is, whatever movie he's doing, if he could get that done by the end of the week, that'd be lovely. If he signs that petition and invites some of his other SAG-AFTRA little buddies there to sign that petition, Jennifer Lawrence, and all these people who are being paid rather handsomely. And look, I'm not rolling around in a movie. If you think that you're worth millions or billions, good for you. I'm not trying to take your money away. I'm just saying, if you have that much money and you know the veterans are suffering, then this isn't really going to affect you. Someone like Chris Pratt, someone like Jennifer Lawrence, and I'm not really picking on them, but they are American, or at least I assume they are. You can never tell. Either way, you assume that if they deign to go into a store like McDonald's and ask for $1.99 chicken nugget, they're not the type to say, "Oh, but there's tax on it, so I can't afford it." Or order something from Uber Eats from a local restaurant and then say, "Yeah, I can't afford the tax on the $20 takeaway, that I'm picking up the junk food or whatever that they eat on their cheat days." I'm pretty sure that they could afford that. This tax will be nothing to them. To regular people might be uncomfortable for a second, just a second. Why? Because they're gonna buy it anyway. Whatever it is, if it's a giant pizza pie and it costs 2 cents or $1 more, I don't know where you're going that you get, a slice for $1, but some people do, they get pizza by the slice. Either way, if a little money out of your pocket goes to help a veteran and that veteran can afford food for themselves, that'd be nice. If they could afford a house for themselves, that'd be nice. If they could afford to maybe move to a better area, that would be really good. They raise taxes all the time, and businesses have been absorbing the cost. I keep mentioning that $1.99 chicken nugget. I guess it's probably because McDonald's used to have a consistent dollar menu, and then inflation happened. And inflation is very complicated. The cost of living, it's the amount of taxes that are going on, and whatever failed construction project that they have to recoup money for, whatever. Throughout all of that, no one says, "Hell, we have veterans who are suffering, veterans that are in homeless shelters, veterans that are in nursing homes that shouldn't even be in nursing homes." For some, that's a better life. And in certain circumstances, yeah, I agree that money isn't everything. But if I'm not getting the value of my country, then yeah, I need to ask for money. I have a whole subreddit group called "Your Money Is No Good Here" because I want to live in a world that doesn't need money. It just barters or it makes enough products that it becomes superfluous. But that's not for everyone. Some people want to live that consumer life. Some people want to live in a world where they just numb themselves to everything. So if people like Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence, and a bunch of American actors want to, Tom Cruise, I didn't even consider asking him. I don't know if he's on X. I think he's a little too busy. He's always doing Mission Impossible movies, so he's always busy. I probably should have asked him to sign the petition because he's an American, one of our finest actors. I've loved him since Interview with the Vampire. He's like so cool. Um, he was all the way back in the Outsiders. Like he's had a career. He has an amazing career. But I didn't ask him because you know I assume he's busy. I assume that he has other things besides playing military individuals in cinema. But he did that movie Born on the Fourth of July about a veteran who exited the military, an extremely broken person. I saw that film. I remember it vividly. I didn't learn the lesson of it. I really didn't. And that's a shame because movies like that should be discussed in schools because a lot of us they think that when you join the military that you're getting Fortnite and Call of Duty all rolled into one. And for some, it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. You get to shoot things and go on camping adventures. For other people, they get limbs blown off, they lose their squad mates, and they're raped by other servicemen. And I shouldn't even smile at that, but I don't know. My face has weird facial tics when it comes to stuff like that because I just want to just scream. I want to scream. But it's really early in the morning, so I don't want to offend my poor neighbors who have to hear me screaming throughout the day because I have PTSD. Nobody talks to veterans really. They say thank you for your service, and they just leave us alone. And some of us want to be left alone, but it costs money to be left alone. It costs money to be self-sufficient. As I said, this tax will give veterans some options. Some will take that option and say, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's fine. Some will take that option and say, I'll start a business. Some will start farms. Some will run for office. And some, like me, would probably just build new towns throughout the entire country while fixing the towns that are already here. You know, the things that you're supposed to do when you're an American. You know, if you needed a road a couple centuries ago, you pretty much had to ask everyone to chip in a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and get it done. Sometimes you had slaves, sometimes you didn't. But now we're at this situation where we don't really want to go back to slavery, but we've been slacking. We've been slacking off a lot. Roads are in disrepair, bridges are not being well maintained, tunnels are not well maintained. These are hazards, huge hazards, and not just for veterans, but for the entire American populace. Unfortunately, we have politicians who might discuss it, but they'll tie that up in political backtalk for, for decades. You need a new sports center, you need a new hospital. Oh, you got to turn to private funds, private owned. You got to hope that universities can pick up the slack. Give us the money or give us a country back. $72 billion monthly seems like a lot of money, but that's the smallest amount, the smallest amount, when quite frankly, we deserve a lot more, if not all. And that's not including back pay, that's not including dependents, that's not including specialists, uh, special circumstances, I guess is a better way to put that. Veteran Affairs has bamboozled America for decades. They have hurt veterans, they have psychologically damaged veterans. I already had PTSD, I already had military sexual trauma. But I was assaulted during a hate crime here in Los Angeles where I was punched and kicked and called a fag. So I had to go to the hospital. The only hospital I could really go to was the VA. And the VA used that as an opportunity, the VA Medical Center, used it as an opportunity to further psychologically damage me. I already put into writing with them, look, I prefer not to have females in my medical team after being sexually abused by Master Sergeant Miranda. And of course, front desk receptionist, female, whatever. That's fine. Social worker, female, at that time. There were times when they could be accommodating, and then there were times they were not. But when they were not, they had the opportunity to look at the file of the patient they were going to see and read military sexual trauma. And these people have no training. No training. I mean, true. If you're a veteran for the most part and you have to go to the VA, you're probably like super, super old. I'm not that young, but that's fine. At the time, because of all the injuries that I had, I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't really run off. And here comes the social worker who gets up in my face and looms over me. And, I want to scream, I want to lash out, but, obviously I don't. Because I say, no, this is what you sue over. This is what you talk to the DOJ about. Department of Justice. It's what you have a lawyer for. America has broken faith with veterans. They owe veterans money and a better country. And they're delivering neither of those. Veterans are missing funds, and veterans are missing a full, coherent country. I mean, by coherent country, as in it runs properly. It is 2025. I don't want to hear any excuses of why you can't build better roads. I have change.org/clear LA smog, a specific plan to fix American roads throughout the entire country. But you know what? I would settle for at least this city of Los Angeles. But nobody wants to sign that petition because they would rather perpetuate a system where, well, potholes keep American jobs. Really? Is that what you think? You think it's more important to have a pothole which could cause an accident than to increase their workload of repairing every single road throughout the entire city? Thank you. I think I appreciate that. I guess. Either way, I was talking about change.org/clear LA smog. It's my petition that smog is an issue here, and every single pothole that damages a car's exhaust system is creating more pollution. That damages your lungs, that damages my lungs, damages the lungs of young children who have developing lungs. And you really don't want to have underdeveloped lungs as a child because it just means that you're going to be extremely asthmatic by the time you're an adult because you never grew enough healthy tissue. But of course, I'm not a medical doctor because I don't have the disability rating that I needed in order to qualify for the education grant, which is the whole reason why I signed up for Petition. Oh, I don't mind. One sec. Although, my goodness, there is certainly a breeze going on there. So yeah, the outfit for today, styling, styling. So yeah, definitely have my Scottish attire here. Very proud of being a fashionista. But I can't wear this outside here because these people are so unenlightened when it comes to their heritage and just simple biology. Like, But I have a whole song called "The Funk Under a Scotsman Kilt," which is a lot deeper if you think about it. But also, it is talking about, you got to let that breathe. You got to let that, enjoy some air. And here are these people, such prudes and whatnot. It's like the human body is lovely. Like, we should celebrate it every chance you get. But I had to move to the one area where it's a problem for them because they consider that really offensive and just very triggering for them because they don't like transgender people. And I don't understand it because why would the VA move me here? They literally moved me to a reservation without my permission, uh, because I told them I really wanted Santa Monica. I really wanted to be by the beach and just enjoy that kind of environment and community. Because these are people who do things like beach cleanups. These are people who do drum circles, and these are people who say, you know what, it's beautiful. Like, we don't need to bother people. I can imagine. I can imagine. I, this is why I'm not a politician. I'm just a free-minded thinker, but I'm trying to engage with people and say, wherever you live, whatever country you live in, go for that 2.0. And when I keep saying this 2.0, I'm talking about regaining your freedom while still living your lifestyle. And for some, it's freedom to wear looser clothing and not be so caught up in that suit and tie and high heel thing that it used to make sense, but it doesn't anymore. Like, you really want to command power, command power. Like, you don't need a power suit for that. You're not anymore. Because most of the businesses aren't even that way anymore. Some people are still in that kind of world, and those people are kind of dwindling. Not many people are in that world. So why do you have to live that way? I think a lot about the kind of America I want to live in. And, maybe it is just me, but I keep getting a lot of ads in my email about car companies, Mazda, Ford, blah, 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 blah. I'm not against your companies. I'm just saying. Just say it, Ben. Oh, I want to live in a town without cars. I want to live in a town without trains. I want to live in a town without buses. Why? Because I really think you need to walk. I really think you need to feel safe to roam around your own town at a leisurely pace and not have to worry about the meth addicted zombies or someone trying to mug you or some idiot with a car going over the curb because they're on Oxycontin or something. Or they just had a really, really shit day and, they want to take it out on you. Because that's the country I live in. And as a veteran, I'm going for my disability benefits, but it also makes me really, really upset because you should think that if you live in something like Los Angeles or you live in, York or something, that you're going to see some value for your money there. And it's just, no, there is no value to these cities at all. They're messes, absolute messes. Like you'll live in Los Angeles and say, oh, everything is so spread out, I'll get a car. But you think you're the only person who thinks that way? No. Everywhere around you, there's someone who purchased a car and is just going to sit in traffic. And you sit in traffic and you say, ah, well, I mean, I needed to get to wherever I needed to get to, but that's it. And it's always wrong. I'm trying to wake up people. Wake up. If you can't walk to your job or walk to whatever you're going to do, the restaurant, the movie theater, whatever, then it's too far. And in America, distance really matters. And we talk about these roads, but we don't talk about the drivers. We don't talk about, people are exhausted, they're angry, they're depressed, and then we give them an extremely complicated machine and say, you might drink, you might not drink, you might take drugs, you might not take drugs, but if you take this test one time, guess what? You get to operate this machinery. And for some people, getting a driver's license is the most liberating thing ever. I think the opposite way. I think it feeds you into a system which has been harming America. It's been harming the environment. It has been keeping you in a very angry state for some people. Traffic can be very aggravating. There are people who drag other motorists out of their cars to go beat them up and sometimes go further than that just because they were taking too long in a lane or cut them off. And that level of rage that lives in America is misplaced. You want to be angry at the person who designed the road that didn't allow for the design flaw of, if it's a really good idea, other people are going to buy it. Because clearly that's what happened. They thought that the car was the best idea ever, and now everyone has one for the most part. So what used to be a convenient way to get around, it's not convenient anymore, and it's going to get worse. I start these conversations, and I started this particular series because someone has to say it out loud. Some veterans get it, some veterans don't. We have to pull out of these cities. These cities are not good places to get a value from your money. They're not good places to raise a family. And you have to ask yourself, when you go to purchase something like a car, sure, a used model might be cheaper, but deep down, don't you want a brand new car? Same applies to cities. Some people want a truly rustic town. The difference between a rustic town and a town that's just rusted is political corruption, the level of it. In those rustic towns, they usually have a certain level of tourism that demands that they keep a level of upkeep, and they have money coming in, and they try and at least put a good veneer on it. These big cities, they have tourists that come in, they really do, and in some ways they put on a good spackle on top of things. They are improving the railway lines so that they can go further west. The only issue is they approve that project, but not the project to repair the sewer system, which overflows because somehow Los Angeles has selective memory that just because you made a desert with all of your smog and car exhaust, it'll still rain here for the time being. Because you trash the entire city and just litter everywhere, and that gets stuck in the sewer system, those sewers will back up because you have nowhere for the water to go. It's supposed to go through several water treatment plants and then out into the ocean. It doesn't reach there. How could it? It's blocked up. And this is what I'm fighting about. If you have your own money, you can say, fuck this shit, and just build yourself a house in the fucking woods if you want. Or you could say, well, fuck it. I'll get a crew together and I'll fix it my damn self. Where is the value for this country? Where is it? Because I'm searching right now and I'm not finding it. Because I don't find it very valuable to me that I have women trying to break into my apartment and the VA telling me, we're looking for more evidence of PTSD. Do you want police reports? Because I can give you police reports. Do you want medical records? Because you have medical records. I deserve better. I'm not the only veteran. I say we deserve better. Every last one of us. If you served in America and you're not getting paid after what you went through, it's time. It's time to collect. As I said at the beginning, I sent off my little plea to them to their better conscience to sign this petition, change.org/save American veterans. People like Chris Pratt don't sign the petition. If he signs it, great. If he doesn't sign it, he's just not a good person. And everyone will know. Also, I guess that means that I won't watch your movies and I will actively say that you didn't sign. That's all. He goes about his life, his whatever, and the same thing for all people in SAG and all people at companies like Disney and Marvel and McDonald's and all the rest. They'll just lose a customer, and I will tell other people to boycott your businesses because this whole idea of you expect veterans to pay for your stuff when they can't afford a roof over their own heads, that's a problem. But either way, my name is XIlyana. Here is the XIlyana of XIlyana. Thank you so much for joining me, and for those who are watching it in replay, thank you for taking the time to listen to an American in pain. Change.org/Save American Veterans. The time has come for America to pay up.